Now let's look at how to develop intuition itself. As I said in the last section on intuition, there's a tremendous amount of overlap, and the tools that we use to develop any of the feeling and knowledge-based abilities especially, but as well as the sense-based abilities, can be used to also help develop intuition. As I've said, a lot of times we might also find that we don't work so well directly developing intuition, but our intuition develops very well working on the other talents. Now that's important because of course that means that we can use all those tools to develop intuition, and as well use intuition to help develop all those other tools and abilities. And that's a wonderful thing, and that's, like I said, why intuition is first. However, we can also do other things to more directly develop intuition. Now, again, a lot of those things can be used to develop other talents, but they really do work best with intuition generally, or even some of the other abilities, because of the same basic manifestations, the same basic principles. It's a bit confusing, I know, and I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes enough sense. So, as an example of what I'm talking about, when I was working to develop my own intuition, I always played a game at the drive-through window. If I was going to a fast food restaurant or whatever, I'd go up to the speaker and order my food, whatever it was, and I would try and give myself an insight as to who's on the other end, who's receiving my order. Now, when you do that, it's important not to look at things like clothing, because of course everyone there is going to be wearing a uniform, and it's going to be pretty much standard, so you're not really being insightful or using intuition when you're guessing the common. If you know that everyone's got a blue shirt on because the uniform is blue shirted, you're not really using intuition. That's just raw knowledge. That's just memory. So that's not the way to go. But what you can do is look to other things like hair color, whether they wear glasses, whether they have facial hair if they're male, that kind of thing. Now, the important thing is, with intuition in general, it doesn't always mean that the impression you get is going to be physically accurate. There's other variables that often occur outside of our control. As continuing the example, if I get the impression that the person's a brunette and I drive up and they're blonde, it doesn't actually mean they're blonde, does it? In the modern era with things like hair dye, it could be that there are brunette and they've just dyed their hair blonde. It could be that they normally dye their hair brunette and they just decided for the first time in ages to let it grow naturally blonde or whatever, right? Same with glasses. What you see isn't always the reality, because some people could have been wearing glasses and just had cosmetic surgery. They could be wearing contact lenses. They might only need glasses for reading, right? So you're getting insights that not necessarily supported because of too many variables outside of our control. Now, to develop intuition, we can do things a little more in depth along similar lines. We can actually go and do things online in the same basic way, but with a step better. If you're talking to somebody online in a chat room or whatever that you don't really know, it's a great opportunity to work to develop your intuition as well. Of course, you want to get them involved in it, because you don't just want to start rattling off information and scare the bejesus out of them. I myself have done that with people who were aware and still got scared, but you have no control over that, so don't worry about that. But what you want is you want to do a reading of them, trying to find out things like where they are, what room they're in, what things are around them, like little knickknacks, what they're wearing. If you go to the what you're wearing, don't go to the naughty side of that, just the basics, right? Like shirt color and pants, and like colors more than anything are the better way to go. If they're wearing jeans, a t-shirt, a sweater, those kind of things, as well as things like hair color and glasses and all that. Now, the reason that's one step better is because you get direct feedback from them. If they tell you that they normally have brown hair but they've dyed it blonde, see, that gives you that feedback. That gives you something that you can't really have on just the one-sided version of it. So that feedback gives you more information about how accurate you're getting. Remember, it's not about being right or wrong, but that feedback is a wonderful system of checks and balances. It gives you something to work with to show you how well you're doing, as I've said. So that's one option. Now, you can of course go further. Intuition is kind of a cool ability because you can have a lot of fun with it. It's one of those abilities that you can pretty much do anything imaginable to develop. One option that commonly may occur is that if you lose things like your keys or your wallet, you can take the opportunity to develop a little bit of intuition to try and find them. Now, of course, there's going to be an element that if you put it somewhere and forgot, well, you might still sort of remember where it is, but it's still a wonderful way just to build that trust level. Now, of course, if you want to go one step further where you don't have that memory of where you may have left it, you can actually go and do equivalent of a psychic scavenger hunt. You can have somebody go and hide a number of items around your house and then just give you a list of what they are without any clue as to where they are. And then your job is to go and find them. Now, that's a wonderful thing because it's a lot of fun and you can do it over and over again, even using the same items because somebody just goes and hides them in new places. So intuition is a lot of fun that way because you can be very creative and very inventive. Now, as I keep saying, don't worry about the success or failure. Don't worry about how well it works because some of the insights and impressions might be coming in for other reasons. You might be picking up things for other that are outside of what you're currently doing but are still relevant. Looking back at some of the examples, if you're reading for someone online, it could be that you're picking up their brother or their sister or their roommate or their mother or their father. Even though you're not necessarily correct, you are correct, just not in that exact instance. And intuition's like that because we're picking up so much that it's often confusing to sort through what's direct, what's indirect, right? Same thing like I said with danger in earlier version. So again, don't get caught up on the success or failure and allow yourself to be guided. Intuition is also what helps us be guided to our best endeavors. It's also what helps us to know that, well, this ability just doesn't feel right and I should go this way. It's what says, well, this talent seems to be working really well using this. I should do this more. This would be better for me if I develop this tool to develop it. That kind of thing. That's all part of intuition. So it's a very in-depth topic. It covers just a phenomenal amount. And at the end of the day, of course, like everything else, the key is to trust yourself. Whether the impressions pan out as real or not real, that isn't the key. The key is that we trust ourselves. The key is that we accept what's there regardless of whether we can prove it or not. Because as we develop, of course, the ability is going to get stronger. It's going to get more powerful. And of course, we're going to probably become more accurate using it. But a lot of intuition is very minor. It is an umbrella term of a lot of what we would classify as those insignificant abilities. A lot of them can fall under intuition directly. So again, just trying to give you enough information to really understand. So that's intuition in its basic form. So go out and trust your instincts, allow your intuition to guide you, and trust in yourself and let it develop as it will. Best of luck on that.